morning. Central Florida today. We're getting ready to hit the road. I've noticed, well, I should give you an introduction of what's going on before I get into all that. We've had our camper now for over a year. We towed the Honda Pilot behind it, and we use a all-terrain non-binding tow bar. I'm going to show you something that I'm going to do for a repair, because everything's just kind of a little loose with this thing and I really don't like it. And so what I'm going to do is tighten up the hitch a little bit. This is our tow bar that we use for towing our Pilot behind the camper. This is the Falcon all-terrain non-binding tow bar. This comes from Roadmaster. We've been real happy with it. It's easy to hook up and unhook. Beth can attest to that for the amount of times that I tried to make a U-turn, didn't have enough room and had to jump out of the camper and unhook the Pilot so that we could make that turn. That's one of the disadvantages. But it's running we're running the Air Force One braking system, which I installed. It wasn't that hard to do, a couple of YouTubes and you're done. But today I'm going to start taking this thing apart, and we'll catch up with you when it's off of the truck. These things work great, by the way. But that's not our problem today. Our problem today is this hitch here. You can see what it's doing. Everything's moving around, up, down, left, right. I'm going to show you how we're going to try to fix that. But first thing I got to do is take this off. Use these straps to keep the cord good. Looks like we're gonna have a little trouble. This is the part we shouldn't say we don't care about, but we're not after this part of the hitch today. We got that holder that holds that up. What we're after is this. This whole assembly. So that's it. We're going to take it and do some modifications. Okay, so I moved the parts into the garage now, kind of work in the shade instead of out in the sun. Plus we have to get some welding done. That's what we're going to be doing. So this is what's already happened. Back in California, we had an issue with the hitch and the Pilot and all. So we had it to a hitch shop, had a couple of braces added. And the guy there, real smart dude, he said, I told him I wanted him to weld this together right here. And he said, what for? And I said, because it wiggles around a lot and it just seems like it's wearing. And he says, nah, here's what you do. And what he did, you take this apart here, just slides apart. You can see here, there's some little buttons welded on. You put those all the way around. Okay? And what that did is it effectively increased the size of this bar, but only in certain points. And the reason is, and what he said to me was, if it loosens up again, you just have to re-weld it, and that way it'll wear the welds out instead of wearing the hitch out. And it also gives you that little bit of flexibility that you kind of want in the hitch. So this is just kind of tightening it up a little bit. You can see right here how smooth these have worn out. These are ones that weren't as tight. So what I'm going to do is re-weld these all the way around and refit this and then put it back on the camper. That should tighten it up pretty good. Watch your eyes. Welding on plastic is never a good idea. But it is what it is. You can see what I've done here. Just added a little weld to each one of the welds that was already on there. I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, this is the ugly part. This is the part where, hey, I'm not a professional welder. I used to be back in the day, but as you guys probably have noticed, this eye kind of points weird. It's because I can't see out of it. So the depth perception required to weld is pretty, it's one of those things that you take for granted, but I think I did okay. I made this so that it now will not fit. So it isn't going to go back together. What's got to happen is all these welds have to get ground down just a little bit at a time, until this fits tight. I'm going to do that before I move on to welding the next part. So I'm just doing a little grinding. This part, the first sleeve, has been on. It's been ground down. The welds were ground down and then put back on to tight. This is what you call a hammer fit. It had to go on with a hammer. You can't pull it off, but if you pulled it up with a hammer, that would, you hit it with a hammer, that would probably get it off. It's going to wear. This has got 20,000 miles on it originally. It'll get another 20,000 probably next summer. I'll have to do this again, but I think it's worth it. The fits that they make these on are kind of loose fits, and I think that's so you can get it apart. I don't know, but anyway, this one's done, and now we're going to put the other one. Let's make sure I put it on the right way. I believe this is correct. Yeah. So you can see it's almost on. You see the hole isn't quite lined up. I'm going to hit it with a hammer. Watch the hole. That's all done now. We're going to go install it on the camper, and you'll be able to see maybe there'll be less play in it. Okay, now we didn't do any welds on the outside one because it fits pretty good, and I really don't want it to be, I want this one to be able to come off in any case if there's ever a problem. So that's back in. You can see already, even without this on here to tighten it, that hitch is a lot tighter than it was. It's not 100%. It's not a body fit, but it is a hammer fit, and it's not going to loosen up over. Well, it will loosen up over time as the welds wear, but you're not counting on the pin to keep the hitch. The pin's in there to keep the hitch from coming apart, but it's not there to keep this a tight fit. So I'll button it up and we'll finish up. Okay, everything's back together, tightened up. This little doohickey that holds this tight is back on. I don't know if you'll be able to see the difference or not. Still got... That's pretty much all gone. So that's it. To review, you're going to want to remove the hitch from the back of your RV. You're going to weld some tabs on, then grind those tabs down to get a nice tight hammer fit, and then put it all back together and take it out to your RV and reinstall it. That's about it. If you don't have a welder, you can get somebody in a welding shop to fabricate it and get yourself hooked back up and back on the road. Thanks for watching. Come on.